Welcome to the WGL EU. We are into day 3 of Super Week, and of course, I'm back in the hot seat. There's no Mitch today. We had to put him out to pasture, but I'm joined by the beautiful duo, Ollie and Melly. How are you guys doing today?
It's weird hearing your voice instead of Mitch's dulcet tones, but it's a pleasant surprise, actually. I like it. It's a good change.
Melly, did you miss me?
Absolutely. I was really sad
like
the last past day. No, I would never lie. Look at these eyes. Those eyes can't lie. So, no, I really missed you, and it's nice having you back. And I think, the first 2 days were awesome already.
Pretty good.
Yesterday night. Holy potato.
Holy potato. Let's leave it there. Let's not spoil too much because there's a lot of catching up to do here. And of course, I need to catch up as well because I've been watching here and there. There's some moments I couldn't miss. But let's look at those last few games, of course, that came up not too long ago. It has been Super Week, so it's been pretty jam-packed. And there's a couple of results on here that stand out to me, Ollie. And guess which one it is?
Yeah, it would be Strong Siema versus Kazna, I guess.
Oh, no, I was really surprised at Synergy. God.
Oh, Synergy
Of course, it's the Kazna game.
To be fair, it was a mixed bag of results in yesterday. Strong Siema, a really surprising win from them. Obviously, it was a 3-1 scoreline to them on Ruinberg. Kazna came back to bring it 4-all in Mines, and then they went to Ghost Town, where Strong Siema chose the attack, and they did that typical Utopia North cap and managed to win out in the tiebreaker. So yeah, massive congratulations to the Polish Juggernauts. Certainly made a mark on the WGL with that win.
Well, I can imagine today will be no different, considering I know what matches are coming up, but we're not going to spoil that just yet. That's a treat waiting to happen. So guys, in case just seeing the results isn't enough for you, we've got a brilliant little clip to catch you guys up to date.
Welcome, of course, to the WGL EU Super Week Day 2.
You actually got an overmatch here from Synergy. They're going against Holtnik.
Big time. Holtnik going to be caught out in this disintegrator pretty much instantly. Of course, the cap has begun as well. A little bit of distraction play here for Synergy. Just trying to take Ding off guard. Now, Ding have to fight on 2 fronts. They're thinking about Pekusiak getting nuked down, but also the fact that that capture process is ticking along.
A lot of these early engagements that they need to take these tanks down.
All right, who'll go down? Fair enough, but Synergy's still up in terms of health, but they still do have to go up against 7 full tanks for Ding here. Cap being reset time after time after time. You can see Lillard coming in from the back. Zamika is also there chipping with his own damage. Shokish and Diplomat are in deep trouble now. This is where the overmatch does happen, and Shokish drops not long after Lillian. Nice work by them. You're getting in a lot of damage towards him though. Mihailov is going to join in the party. Pekusiak Meritorious might be caught down here briefly. Mr. Akar can't really push around on his own. He needs a couple more tanks with him, and Ding maybe just letting this one slip a little bit. Karitz does take a hit after back and right. Down. Oh, still Mojo. Halo, please. Please, bro. What have you done? He's pushed right into the middle of the map here. He gets taken out by Coca-Cola. And he just gives his life away there a little bit cheaply, I feel. As now Virtus Pro want to start to close this one out. Wusa have to give this tank up just to try and get this sort of reset here. As Roofy isn't able to connect the shot, and that has just fluffed it completely for Wusa. The cap will be completed, and Virtus Pro get it done rather easily. Just Cos comes around the corner, looks towards Spoink. Hallucinogen has got Breakneck bailed up, and he will be able to 1v1 with the shot from Just Cos comes in at the right time, and he's able to back away. Not only does he fire all his shots, but he's still alive with just a bit of health. And now still Mojo and Spoink have to sort of group up here, have to make something happen. It was a decent attack there by Wusa. It definitely paid off. They're ahead in health points, but they have to follow up on it. There has to be this momentum converted into tangible results here as Pobble comes around the corner.
It's going to be Spoink with 5 shells versus Kusok and Bishop.
All right, well, Bishop going to come around the corner. Spoink has set himself up all right in the corner, but time ran out. Of course, Wusa did it. They actually made it. It's so funny when this weird stuff goes on. And the German national just going to have to back up a little bit here as Vetso trying to come around the corner and help out. Catch me. That's who he was looking for with that shot, but he's not able to connect it here. FKK Schnitzel moves up as well. A lot of free damage being taken by Kazna Crew. They're not capitalizing at all. And FKK Schnitzel goes super low. Kazna Crew have to go for another mid-round turnaround if they want to win this one.
A lot of bounces from Kazna Crew onto Strong Siema as well. They really negated like 1.5k damage, and to be honest, Strong Siema are firmly in the driving seat.
That's a big shot on towards Ruster, leaving himself open there. Kazna Crew can't afford to let that kind of damage be done. He's now going to get double chunked down as well. Strong Siema just waiting to spring the trap now, and Kazna, they're at a distinct risk of falling way behind here. Getting 1-3 on Rubenberg will be devastating.
This is really bad news for Kazna Crew. You see OJ just fall down. He actually goes down to Lucas Shiasti. So now a 5 versus 4 situation. Also, speed does come into the equation with some good damage.
6 seconds left. FKK Schnitzel, he'll go over. He'll try to get some sort of reset. He does go for the ram. Now, what a mess that is, but he does bounce a shot over. Catch me. Kazna Crew are there, but they've got to make this work for them right now. And FKK Schnitzel's getting hammered from every single different angle. It's not going to work out. A heck of a lot of health has been lost here, and he will go down. Now, Yisne is caught as well in a bit of a crossfire. And Strong Siema, they are the kings of this map against Kazna at least. These head-to-heads with heavy tanks, they are all over it.
And Ruster just goes in, and Hyber also misses his shell, so at the moment it's not going well for Kazna crew at all. You can see the two IS-3s of Strong Siema want to try and finish this one off.
Stu Reuter's almost loaded. He's looking straight at him. Ruster gets double tapped. 700 damage taken off him. Hyber is still healthy, but he needs some teammates to help soak up some of that damage and to put some back towards Strong Siema. Hyber bounces one off his head. Good work, but Ruster goes down. Hyber is the last man standing. The final stand for Kazna crew. The European champions are going to be toppled by Strong Siema, a team coming up from the Silver Series, coming out of Go for Watch, and they are shaking things up here. Kazna crew have fallen by the wayside. It's all up in the air. I mean, the mud is hit the fan, and Strong Siema will take this one. The tiebreaker win, 5-4. Can you believe it? Thank you so much for joining us tonight. But until next time, good night and good game.
A truly commendable performance from Strong Siema at the end, being able to top Kazna crew in that one. And of course, that's shaken up the rankings. We're going to crack those on the screen any second now, but just talking about that game, you can imagine that's just made things even closer within that top 6.
Yeah, Strong Siema were super happy to walk away with that win. I mean, as you said, and I said countless times, they just did really well, and they definitely deserve that win. I mean, I think, you know, the big thing there is that Tornado Rocks has got themselves further up. Virtus Pro, with their win against Wusa, also jump into 3rd place, replacing Kazna crew, because of course they only got the 1 point instead of the 2 or 3 points, which they needed to be in a position to get like 2nd or 3rd place in that leaderboard. And of course, you know, we got Ding slipping further down. Synergy looked like they're in a good spot to stay in those playoff places, obviously 3rd to 6th.
So this is the point I've been waiting to talk to you guys at home about. Today's games, and there's a reason as to why. You're going to see it right at the very top. Supreme up against Kazna. It's the game that everyone has wanted to see this season, and I have the pleasure of casting this for you. Ollie, we've seen Kazna slip in their previous games. Supreme still seems dominant. Is this going to be the game I want to see, or do you think it might not be as good?
I think this would be the game of the season. I mean, yesterday it was super close. I think, you know, Kazna crew definitely slipped on Nuremberg, maybe underestimated Strong Siema's ability on there, because I just didn't see them that much this season. So I really do think that game should live up to expectation. I honestly think it's going to be great. I mean, Penta versus No Mercy. I don't know how it's going to work out. You know, No Mercy did very well this week with a good win against ASAP, a 5-0 scoreline, which I don't think really anyone expected. And then, like, the last game, Tornado Rocks versus Utopia, I think they're pretty even. I mean, of course, Tornado Rocks sitting in 2nd right now, really performing well as a team, getting better and better, as I said countless times throughout the season. And Utopia also seem to be, you know, a team that's got themselves in the right place right now.
Yeah, Utopia in 6th. It's pretty admirable. That's a decent performance thus far. We'll have to see if they can maybe increase that, work their way up the rankings. But of course, there's a lot of good teams waiting ahead of them. However, first game is my focus, Melly.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you don't even need to encourage the people at home to get involved for this.
No. I bet not. I mean, I'm definitely with you on that. Yesterday night, I said that the 3rd match is going to be my highlight of the day. Everyone laughed at me. And it turned out
to be the highlight.
Absolutely. I was right for once. Some people would call it a mistake or luck. I would say pure skill. And today, the first match, well, we're opening up today with a cracker. And people, as said, get involved. Head over to facebook.com/WGLEU and vote for your favorite team in this matchup. And it's going to be a tough one. Currently, the vote is really, really one-sided. And it's 83% for Kazna crew. So people at home are putting their money on Kazna crew, which surprises me a little. But on the other hand, community always knows somehow.
Yeah,
it's true.
They know, they know, and then they change the vote after just before the first map ends.
So. Well, every viewer or every participant can only vote once, and you can't correct the vote afterwards.
Yeah.
So you have to decide where you're putting your money on, because you have to stick with it throughout the whole game. But people, you should really vote early, because the earlier you vote, the better your chances are actually winning bonus codes, because the fast 3 participants that get the vote correct The prediction cred will be rewarded with bonus codes. And another way of participating is, of course, via Twitter. Use the hashtag WGLEU to get involved. Tell us what's on your mind. What do you think about these matches? And I think there's a lot to talk about. So get involved. Head over to Twitter. Follow us, of course, to stay updated. And then use the hashtag to talk to us. We love reading from you.
We really do. And they're a funny bunch out there. I give you guys that. Every time the WGLEU is on, there's something hilarious going on.
I got some nice shoes tweeted to me yesterday with some nice fire livery on there. So it was nice. Yeah, it's good.
I've clearly missed
Better
out
than
on
Mitch's shoes, obviously.
True, that's not saying much, though. Anyway, let's start talking about that first game, because it's not just what about we think, of course. It's about the team captains. Now, these two must have known this was coming up this season. No one thought Supreme would come out this strong this early on, but they really have. And that's why I want to hear from them first.
At the moment, Kazna crew is one of the strongest English-speaking teams in the world. They got some star players like Ilian and Vetso, and their tactics are good too. This match is gonna be tough both for us and for them. Don't miss it and enjoy the show.
I think Ron knows he's in for a tough game here. Yeah. I think at the very start, when you see his grin there, you knew he was going to be tested by these guys. Clearly a lot of respect between them as well. Yeah,
I think Ron realizes that Kazna crew's on par with them, or, you know, maybe even a little bit better if we look at the results. Kazna beat a similar team to this in the Season 5 finals, obviously School Bus. But, you know, I think it's going to be a really close match. Supreme have looked unbeatable this season. I mean, yeah, they had that tiebreaker against Tornado Rocks, but they just look so insane. They really can take it to that next level when they just switch the flip.
Well, I think we've heard from one side. We have to hear from the other. Let's hear from the Kazna boys and what they've got to say back towards Ron.
Team Supreme is an all-star team at the moment. We played against those players a lot of times on a lot of tournaments. We practiced for this match really hard. This is personally my favorite match of the season, so enjoy the show.
Stern words from Vetso, clearly focused, clearly eyeing up the match in front of him, but he does know this opponent well. As you said, in varying formats, they have played each other a couple of times, so who do you support in this one?
I don't know. I mean, of course, you know, Kazna crew have got a place in my heart because I've been around these guys for a long time. But the same goes for Team Supreme. I mean, I've known these guys for a long time. Some of my favorite players in that team.
Used to wear the Denova love heart.
Yeah, Denova fanboy a little bit as well. I don't really have a favorite. I mean, my favorite goes towards just this matchup in general. It's going to be a cracker.
All right, let's take your fate, you know, your love heart out of it, and let's go to the mental thing. If you're being a betting man, let's say, who would you put your money
on?
Team
Supreme. I have to. I mean, like, they haven't won. They haven't lost.
There's a little tear just trickling down.
No, they haven't lost anything this season. They've looked really unbeatable in many respects. And yeah, Kazna crew lost versus Virtus Pro, and they lost versus Strong CME yesterday.
True, and that is quite worrying. So with such an early game being so fresh in the minds, that could be an issue. However, let's start talking about the maps as well. First up, if I'm not mistaken, will be Ruenberg.
Yeah, I believe so. It's going to be. It's going to be.
Just double checking. Ruenberg and Mines.
Ruenberg, Mines, and then we'll be going back onto Ruenberg for that tiebreaker.
So first map, let's take it into account. Ruenberg. Yeah. I think we know pretty much that Supreme are very good at this map. There's no disputing that. But Kazna, what do you make of them head to head here?
Well, I think Ruenberg's all about attacking. You know, if you can get an attacking round on the board, you're laughing. You should theoretically be able to win both defending rounds. I think what we should be looking at is yesterday's performance by Kazna crew and Ruenberg. Very lackluster. They went 3-1 down versus Strong CME, losing one of those defensive rounds quite substantially. So I think Kazna is a little bit worried right now about this round.
But do you think that might have been a lack of focus in a way? It's Strong. You know, these guys, they're good, but with Kazna crew, do you think it may have been a little bit of overconfidence and not enough focus in that matchup?
Maybe. I mean, we saw Vetso saying that they were taking Strong CME seriously because they're, you know, a team with good players. You know, you got Catch Me in there and a really solid player and Lucas Shiasti. So I think, you know, Kazna crew need to keep their mind really focused on this one, and I think they need to look at what mistakes they made and be less careless with their play. Well,
I can imagine we're going to find out very soon. Guys and girls, this is a game you've all been waiting for, and the first map is Runeberg.
Runeberg, a mixed-type map. The defending team starts the battle on the green, and the attacking team starts at the central square of the town. Bases are located quite far from each other. Both bases are better controlled from the village. It's better to attack the first base through the top direction with the help of several well-armoured heavy tanks. For the attack on the second base, it's better to use a more mobile setup and either play through the centre or split forces. In general, the map is not easy to play on. Teams often use blind shots and risky shifting of the forces from one flank to another.
Welcome into the game. And on the attacking side, it's going to be Team Supreme. They're going to kick this one off. On the defensive side, it's going to be Kazna crew. And as you said, it should be 2 defensive rounds to Kazna if all goes to plan. But let's see what Team Supreme bring.
Well, immediately you see that M41 Bulldog getting spotted by Kazna crew up north. That's interesting because really there's nothing to support it apart from maybe Hyber, who's slowly trundling into position in that IS-3. So if Shanish and FC Dynamo want to actually engage onto him, that's a possibility. Obviously, it would be a little bit risky, and a matchup of this caliber is not really one you want to be risking a lot of things on. Now, Kazna crew in position, they should be okay to defend this northern cap. But interestingly enough, Team Supreme, you know, kind of spreading around a lot with their tanks. They got some IS-3s in the middles, T-54s there as well, and the T-37 down south. They're trying to, you know, come from many angles at the same time.
Yeah, and Kazna's fairly spread out as well. They're not just focusing on one location. They have the IS-3s fairly kind of strewn through the map. Hyber, though, does get caught out a touch. One shell comes in. Second, not connecting. He is spotted. Ruster taking some damage as well. Now they've been able to single out Hyber. They can turn their attention towards Ruster, and this should be a very clean pickup here. Shanish going in on this one. He should make light work of Ruster. And with FC Dynamo there, he does manage to pick up the kill. FC Dynamo getting forward, but Shanish goes down in a 1-for-1 exchange, and FC Dynamo picking up and trying to get into that slightly further north position. A
perfect actual tank for that position from Ruster. I mean, he was using the Bulldog, so he could do a lot of damage to those AMX 1390s. Enough damage for Hyber or Vetso or FKK Schnitzel to actually take it out. So good initial play there by Kazna crew. They are slightly ahead, or very much ahead indeed.
Yeah, now they're certainly feeling that one. FC Dynamo does at least have one more shell to make here, but Hyber's going to have his first, and he won't miss that. FC Dynamo goes down, and we're going to see Team Supreme starting to dwindle in numbers, down to 5, under 4.5k HP overall. Kazna still sitting strong, looking like they want to start closing down that net as well.
Yeah, for sure. They're just trying to, you know, keep the mistakes down to a minimum. Obviously, they know Team Supreme's on the back foot, and Team Supreme's very aware of that fact indeed. And, you know, Griffin probably went low towards the engagement with Elian, so he's got to be careful as well. They're kind of having a snipe off. Of course, the top of that IS-3 is still weak despite the HT model changes, but we can really cast our eyes down to that south. We got to push from the lightweights and the T-37, which has been spotted as Elian does dispatch of Griffin.
Yeah, Griffin didn't really stand a chance there with 3 tanks basically staring him down. But as you mentioned, Phoenix and Ron making a bit of a break for it, trying to maybe find some respite here. Or maybe just a chance to do some damage back. There's still that 5100, and Kazna has such a hefty lineup beside them. This is going to get difficult. Ron has been singled out by Yizny. Vetso will finish the deal. Phoenix is trying to move in, but this all seems a little drib and drab for Team Supreme. It's just not working out very well.
And Vetso's going to go 1 vs 1 against Phoenix. He's a little bit worried where Apple Hours. He doesn't want to go 2 vs 1. Obviously, the MX 5100 will only be able to deal with 1 target. But Phoenix is getting the better of Vetso for now.
Yeah, but in the meantime, look at the fold towards the middle. Nuclear's drastically outnumbered. Duralfish is going to come in, not get the shot off actually, and Phoenix now starting to get outnumbered. Yizny's turned his turret, so it's a 2v1 up in the north, and there's a CERN drastic outnumbered towards the city, and there we go. Vetso's going to find Phoenix, leaving just Applewell alive, and 1 by 1, Team Supreme seem to just fall to pieces. Great little shot towards Vetso there. He might even be able to pick up Hyber at this rate, maybe Yizny, but I doubt he'll find much more than that, and he knows it. 2 minutes and 57 seconds left. Schnitzel not going to allow him any room to breathe. Wants to keep tabs on this man, and you can't blame him. It is Applewell, and he's been put down. It's Kazna crew picking up round 1, as they should do on that defending side, but it felt they were able to cover all their bases there to me.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they won that North engage, which is, of course, the most important. You could see the logic from Team Supreme. They knew that Bulldog was there just from the beginning. They got the early spot on. They wanted to get the overmatch. But the thing is, you know, that Bulldog has like 1.5 seconds between shots, and the AMX 3090 has about 3 seconds, 2.8 seconds between shots. So you can basically do 2 shells for every one of the AMX 3090. So you can really burst it down before you die. And you've also got support there by Hybo, who had to back off. You know, he was a little bit worried by Griffin and Phoenix in the IS3s in the middle. He had to back off. You know, he got bogged down a little bit there. But when he could support that Bulldog, he managed to take FC Dynamo down, Shanish down before moving on to FC Dynamo.
Yeah, and this is a great kind of display of exactly what you just said, pretty much. And really, all in all, I think this is a good start for Kazna. Maybe just playing fairly standard. There was no need for something, you know, extraordinary. It was just well-rounded, good play, and that's exactly how you want to start off a day after a loss in the previous match. It's, you know, they had a bit of a surprising turn in their previous game, of course, up against Strong Siema, and coming into this, they just want to be solid, it seems. Yeah,
it looks like they're playing a decent set of tanks, less shaky than they were yesterday. But just running through the damage quickly, I mean, Elian did 2.7k, kind of an unsung hero in this matchup. We didn't see much of him, but he was actually playing that middle area, taking care of Griffin, taking care of Phoenix in those IS3. So good damage by him. Yizny did 1.2k in his IS3, Vetsa 1.1k in his AMX 5100, and Phoenix only hitting almost 1.5k from the side of Team Supreme in the T54 lightweight. But, you know, I think the way Kazna Crew got beaten down yesterday by Strong Siema was via the heavy tanks. You know, Strong Siema got the heavy tanks, the IS3s into that second cap, the eastern cap, and then once they, you know, saw Kazna was coming forwards, they pushed in towards that zero line, they got control of it, and then they could just win that engage in the city. I think maybe Team Supreme should take a leaf out of their book.
I was about to say, do you think Supreme they must have watched that previous game, so I'm hoping they paid attention and gone, all right, well, this worked. Why not replicate it? If it works once and it's not a completely cheesy tactic, why not do it again? And do you think Kazna could fall to that, or do you think maybe they've been able to adjust a couple of pieces in between, obviously, today and yesterday?
I think one of the biggest problems Kazna had yesterday was that they had some shaky individual performances, a lot of bounce shells, a lot of fluff shots. So, you know, if you take that into account, maybe it wasn't a tactical problem from Kazna Crew. Maybe it was just, okay, they let go of the zero line. That's a tactical problem on Ruhenberg. But, you know, if they'd hit those shells, maybe it would have been a different outcome. So it's always that thing with World Tanks. If you don't hit those initial shells, you already start losing the maths game, or you start losing the numbers game, and you can, you know, quickly have that match actually slipping out your hands. Well,
it looks like, you know, we've already seen Elian playing well. We've seen Vetso hitting his shots, and Yizny too. It's looking good for them so far. We'll have to wait and see if they can do it again. You'd always want the double defensive rounds in your favor in this one. It should be done to a degree. We've seen a couple of teams pick up attacking rounds, but generally there's always been question marks around that. So hopefully, for Kazna's sake, they can pick up this round. However, Team Supreme, we know they have a lot in their bag of tricks to go to if they're needed. But then again, they still look like they're warming into this one. I think we're going to start seeing this come to the forefront a little later down the line, if someone can find maybe someone who's, you know, a bit of a weak link here or there, or maybe exploit some of the tactics that just aren't quite cutting the mustard. But guys, at home, once again, just to let you know, use that hashtag WGLEU. Let us know your thoughts on this matchup, because it's time for round 2. Kazna once again on the defense, Team Supreme on the attack, and we're back into this. Lineup-wise, is it the same? Is it different?
Well, we've got the MT25. I mean, that tells me immediately it's a very big tank. The AMX 3090 can hide behind it, so it says straight away that Team Supreme wants to go towards that right side, get control of the zero line, use the MT25 as a kind of piece of scenery for the AMX 3090 to hide behind, get the initial damage onto whatever's there from Kazna Crew, and then, you know, move out into the city with their IS3s and AMX 5100s.
Where's Ron going then? He likes your idea. He went for the cap. He's coming back around, maybe?
Maybe he wasn't spotted early enough, so he thinks, okay, there's nothing in the zero line. The MX 3090s don't need our help. Don't need my help, so we can just get control of the zero line and also start capping.
Hey, why not? 2 birds with 1 stone. You'll see FC Dynamo trying to get into position on that zero line. Apwow's there as well. The cap started, and the IS3s from Kazna Crew are just about holding on that E6 line as well. Interesting positions, holding close. You can see Apwow already starting to do a little bit of work there towards the city. Elian might need to start getting some map control here. The Bulldog's starting to go roaming, and you're seeing Hyber trying to get control of that zero line. We're seeing the push come through here. Apwow and FC Dynamo staying out quite some time here. looking to maybe use all of those shells available and then back away. FC Dynamo not landing as many as I can imagine he would want to at this point, as Hyper and Yizny will be able to get some control here of that zero line.
That's the great thing about the zero line. You can just sit behind those bushes. You've got double bushes, so you don't get spotted. So, you know, Yizny and Hyper really can do much about those two AMX-3090s. But again, it's the AMX-3090. It struggles to penetrate the IS-3. And yes, they've taken a few shells, but they bullied those light tanks off the zero line. This is a similar tactic to what Kazna Crew did yesterday against Strong Siema. Obviously, against Strong Siema in that first defensive round, they did it earlier on. They did it straight away. But, you know, Kazna maybe were considering, okay, Team Supreme, they're going to put the MX-3090s on there, but maybe they've got the MT-25. We don't want to get in that initial engagement. But Shani,
Shani's been caught out here. I don't think he expected Ruster to be in this position. FC Dynamo's joined him, but it might be too little too late. No, Shanish just about stays alive, but that was sloppy from Shanish.
Well, it was sloppy from Ruster as well. He should have probably got that kill onto Shanish. He's got 250 HP left. And obviously the Bulldog would have been maybe able to take him out if he got slightly good rolls.
Well, already seeing a little bit of a difference here. Supreme are holding the HP advantage at this point. They have the cap going. Apwell, though, taking a bit of a beating here. 2 shots in a row, but he deals quickly with Yizny and takes away some of that pressure, but he's still being fired upon. But you can see 30 seconds on that cap now. And we're already seeing the AMX-1390s, the IS-3s, and even the LTTB starting to turn their attention towards the cap because they need to deal with this. And Kazna are falling by the wayside. Vetso and Eurofish are going extraordinarily low here. Supreme are holding the numbers and the HP. And look at Eurofish already just being stared down. He knows his numbers up. 6 HP here. It's going to be one shot. Just needs one to land. Schnitzel trying to save the day, but his days are fairly numbered. Already Phoenix gets one on the way through. Ron still staying alive, and I've got to say it, Kazna, one by one, it worked out in the first round. This one, it's gone terribly wrong. Yeah,
I mean, Kazna Crew's weakness still seems to be that eastern side. They've lost it 2 out of 2 now, basically. I think, you know, biggest mistake was having the IS-3s go into the zero line later instead of earlier. It just let Team Supreme do initial bit of damage towards Kazna Crew, let them get control of that cap. And it was very bad news for them from there on out.
And there we go. FC Dynamo will seal the deal, and it's Team Supreme picking up an attacking round, and phenomenal work from them, but they just read the situation perfectly. And we said it in the previous moment between that game, saying, I wonder if maybe Supreme can exploit the same issues that Kazna had up against the previous opponent that caused that loss. And they didn't necessarily exploit it, but it seems that Kazna fell to the same form of tricks.
Yeah, it seems to me, you know, that whole cap pressure, zero line pressure, really is a Achilles heel for Kazna Crew in many respects. I think, you know, the 2 AMX-3090s did a good job. I think a little bit of overaggression from Yizny. I mean, going forward in that IS-3 and get himself taken down by Apwell. I think Ruster should have done a better job against Shanish there in the MX-1390. He had 2 shells to make, 250 damage. The Bulldog does 150 damage per shell. It should have been game over for Shanish in that situation. Ruster would have been able to flex around the map, really be a thorn on the side. You can actually have a look back at this moment here. So first shell, good damage here. He's also got FK Schlitzel, who probably should have given help. That's this becomes the first miss here. Second miss as well. I'm not sure if he actually did a shell. I think he made that shell. So it could have been a different storyline for Kazna Crew in that situation. But Yizny also going forwards, you know, peaking a little bit too much in these situations.
Maybe that's the problem with Kazna, just a little bit not as focused as normal. It's surprising because normally they are kind of, you know, laser focused in this, but Yizny being caught out here is quite the loss at this point, and you can see them dwindling already by then in numbers and HP. Now, of course, going forward, they will switch sides, so now it will turn. Do you think Supreme will be able to hold down the 2 defensive rounds?
I think it's a very realistic possibility. I think Team Supreme are just a solid team, you know, on the tackle defense, they're very good. I mean, just looking through the damage, Apwell did the highest damage, 2.3k in his AMX-1390. It's always good to see that French tank doing the most damage. 1.7k by Phoenix, 1.5k by Nuclear, who's, you know, been a little bit quiet this season, I have to say. I mean, a man who's
there was a big hype around him.
There's a lot of hype by him, you know, like a kind of a child prodigy, someone who can really be one of those top players, you know, like your power slides, like your strikes, like your, I don't know, like your Lucy Kells, maybe the MVP of the grand finals. Eurofish 1.4k, but again, Kazna Crew just not doing much damage all the way down that leaderboard. So, yeah, Team Supreme looking good.
I think that's the best way to sum it up. They seem just solid at the moment, and you guys were backing Kazna previously. That might have changed. Melly, what's the current standings?
I mean, as you already saw on stream, it's 45% for Supreme and 55% for Kazna crew. So
it closer.
It gone closer, and it was even 50-50 at some point. But as we know, people are finding their ways into the vote, voting for them, voting for Team A, voting for Team B. So I think it will crystallize over the course of the next 2 rounds, because people at home, you can vote during the whole first map, and if you vote early, of course your chances are getting high, because first come, first served. The correct predictions at the start of the game will be counted in first.
Alrighty, guys, it is time for round 3. Supreme with 1 point, Kazna with 1. And now it's Kazna's turn on the harder side. They're now on attack. They have to pick up at least a round here to bring this one back all even. And what does it look like going with start?
So it looks like a classic eastern side push. You're leaving one IS3 a little bit vulnerable. I mean, you never really want to have one IS3 on its own. But let's see how that one works out. If they get support from the half moon circle, it should just be about okay. So just a standard right side push for Kazna right now. Team Supreme very much the same, preparing for a northern side push and also some tanks in that eastern village.
Yeah, a little bit of fire to start with, nothing too much. The IS-3's being noted there, but Schnitzel taking a lot to start off. He's already down quite low, 255, but managing to stay alive and get back a little here. Eurofish and Ruster quite hesitant. It's quite a slow start for Kaz, not instantly taking over the 0 line, but they are certainly getting there, and they're turning their attention maybe towards that cap, maybe looking towards it. And at the moment, are we seeing anything out of the ordinary? It seems very, very standard between these two.
Yeah, I mean, good positions here by the IS-3s from Team Supreme, just holding that half moon circle and obviously the F line as well. I think, you know, Kazna crew went to that right side. They saw the kind of support along that 0 line from the IS-3s. Obviously, you know, FKK Schnitzel received a shell there in this T-37. And now they are starting with that cap. The Bulldog just got spotted from Team Supreme, so maybe Kazna crew will go for some sort of rotate, some sort of flex to try and catch them out.
Already we're seeing the 1390s heading through that city. Vetso, Ruster and Schnitzel, quite the trio there to be heading through. Maybe looking to catch out Phoenix, maybe looking for Ron. They could certainly find them. Heading the right way here. Phoenix might have a little bit of a face full of lead very soon. Schnitzel's going to notice he doesn't get his turret turned in time, but he's now in a bit of a crossfire. He's going to try and desperately seek cover. Ruster looking for a little bit of cover himself. There's 2 shots coming through. Ron towards the right. This could be a little bit of pain coming out very soon here. Ruster's taking a lot of damage, as is Hyber. Hyber now down to half HP as well. Keep your eyes on that battle towards the middle, because those IS-3s are not sitting back. They know the Vetso, Schnitzel, and I believe Ruster were out of position, and so they went, all right, screw it. Let's make the most of this while we can. We can take down the 1390 if needed. And Vetso might be in trouble here, but he does have Ruster with him. Yeah,
that's the thing I was talking about. You know, one IS-3 unsupported in the middle. It's just a risky move all around from from Kazna crew. So you could see Team Supreme just jump on that kind of weakness, and they managed to do it very successfully at the moment. It's going very well for Team Supreme, about 3k HP in front. They got a tank down as well, and they just need to continue this kind of run. Yeah, I can't disagree. These guys are playing well. They're operating on all fronts at the moment. Vetso will at least take down Ron, but it's not without a rebuttal here. Vetso's now down to a 1-shot as well. 99 HP, Schnitzel 94, 62 for Eurofish, and Ruster 256. They're not in a great position, and Phoenix with 2 shells might be able to do this one. Saving it well, delivers towards Schnitzel, and that's him gone. Looking for Vetso. Ooh, just about makes it away, and I think his days are a little numbered. He does manage to scamper away, maybe into the safer arms and the loving arms of the IS-3s holding that E-line. Yeah, so, you know, Kazna crew's options really starting to dwindle right now. They can obviously still win this one. It's still 5 versus 6. So they just need to get themselves sorted here and get the reloads on those autoloaders, reset the battle a little bit, try and do some damage with those IS-3s, and, you know, get Elian in this fight. And you know what, Team Supreme are being relentless about this, so they've seen one weakness, they exploit it, and now thinking, all right, well, I guess the IS-3s are a little, you know, on their own here. Eurofish is low, let's go for it. At least Eurofish does find Applewell, but now it's FC Dynamo in a 1v2 that he can win. Phoenix finding Ruster, brings it a little closer, but Kazna are really lacking in HP, lacking in numbers now.
And they're all starting to head down towards that southern side. FC Dynamo Shell now ready and waiting. He will claim Yizny as Eurelfish just stares him down and knows that this one's, well, not going so well for them.
Yeah, that was a little bit careless play there from Yizny. He did well to stay alive for so long, but you know, he should have had FC Dynamo, I feel. But still, it would have been game over anyway. You can see how far ahead Team Supreme are. Almost 4,000 damage ahead right now of Kazna crew. As Vetso, the only man remaining with 99 HP left, and Phoenix is challenging him.
And there we go. Phoenix takes a challenge, wins it. Supreme pick up round 1 on their defending side. So now a 2-1 score overall. Kazna are going to be sweating about this final round. You don't want another 3-1 coming up against them, because last time that went pretty poorly. Yeah,
at the moment it's going all the way of Team Supreme. They're winning the duels, their tactic is good, but you know, that's the thing about the defensive side in Ruinberg. We see about 66 to 70% of the time teams overall are winning on the defensive side on Ruinberg. So unless you get everything perfect, these rounds just go very quickly into the other team, the defending team's favor. But yeah, we can have a look back at some of those moments there as well, Team Supreme just seemed to have a very good way of dealing with this map and dealing with Kazna crew. And
I love the way they were able to single out so many, let's say, issues. So, okay, well, they spotted the Bulldog, they went and challenged him. Then, when they did that, once they got a little bit of ground gain, they went and took down that IS-3 at the same time. Supreme were on the defensive, and they were never resting on their laurels. They constantly were up to something.
Exactly. I mean, Team Supreme, they challenge Hyber in the middle, Lonesome IS-3. They also keep the light tanks of Ruster and FKK Schnitz and Vetso and FKK Schnitzel locked down with their Bulldogs and AMX and LTTBs. So basically, they just lock down the light tanks so they can't support Hyber. And then you see their 2 IS-3s push in, kill Hyber, and then the light tanks can clean up Kazna crew's light tanks. I mean, the damage there across the board, all the way of Team Supreme, 2,000 done by Nuclear, 1.6k almost done by Griffin, 1.4k by Phoenix.
And let's bear in mind, this was Kazna's choice. I don't know how much we can read into that, but it's certainly, even mentally, let's just take it into that aspect, really poor start for them. They've got to be able to bounce back here. Now, I say poor start. They can still make up for it in this final round. But what do you think the likelihood is? Because it doesn't seem all that likely right now.
Yeah, it looks hard now for Kazna crew. I mean, the thing is, yeah, okay, so they ban the pick and ban stage. You know, they pick and ban maps, and you know, maybe they just decide, okay, the best of a bad bunch would be Ruinberg, and then we can also predict that Team Supreme will be picking up mines. So, you know, I think Kazna crew and Team Supreme really are going to be an interesting set of teams on mines. Both of them play a lot. It's Team Supreme's favorite map. It's one of Kazna crew's favorite maps. But yeah, they still need to make sure they don't go into that one at a 3-1 deficit, although they did come back from a similar scoreline yesterday against Strong Sierra.
We'll find out if they can do it again. This time the opponent's a little tougher, and, well, Supreme look like they mean business. I think this final round coming out on this map is going to be pretty defining of these two teams. You guys out there still have your faith in Kazna crew. Mine's starting to get a little bit weary, let's say. I'm not too sure. When Supreme looks like they're operating on all fronts, they are a terrifying team to even try and consider taking down. Well, I believe the teams are almost ready. We're about to get underway, and we'll find out if Kazna can stay alive in this. They need this final round to stand in good stead going into map 2. And guys and girls, I see the game is live. Let's turn our attention towards it. Ollie, what do we make of these lineups? What is it to see? Any differences? Any new starts?
No, pretty much the same for both teams. Exactly the same. I think it's just going to be a good set of games here. I mean, the lineups are just standard attacking and defensive lineups. IS-3s all across the board for Team Supreme. Lighter tanks for Kazna crew, but also some heavy tanks just to be able to provide some meat, some damage to those light tanks. So it looks like Kazna crew going for that zero-line push once again. Remember last time they did very much of the same thing, but they decided to rotate back around up north. Maybe one of the issues they had. Let's see if they do commit this time.
Oh, Ron this time committed much further as well. Last time he held himself around the G line, if I'm not mistaken. He's pushed down a little further now. And there's a lot of players from Kazna here. They've really stacked out that southeastern side. This could be an issue for Supreme if they're not expecting this, but Ron's found a little bit of information at least, but not much.
Here come the IS-3s as well. This is really standard. I think Team Supreme right now is expecting Kazna crew to go into the cap, so they need to get control of the zero line to be able to basically reset this cap. So it's going to be Eurelfish and Ruster's job to basically keep these IS-3s at bay, do as much damage, and to keep Team Supreme guessing.
Yeah, Griffin and Nuclear, as you predicted, moving down that zero line, getting ready to challenge them out. But Nuclear does at least take one shot, make it 2. He's not getting this one for free. Anyone else willing to challenge and hit these shots? Eurofish gets one back. It's a bit of a back and forth between these guys, but Nuclear is starting to go a little low here. He needs to be careful. They're doing great damage towards Kazna crew overall. But Hyber still the one to take down Nuclear first.
Yeah, there's basically no cover there. You really have to get down to K0 if you want any kind of cover. So you can get shot from the side, especially when you're talking about the caliber of snipers Kazna crew has on their team. So this is going well for Kazna crew. The HP is still in favor of Team Supreme, of course, because they've still got the heavier lineup. And also they've done a good amount of damage. Kazna need to make sure they don't give that advantage away, though.
Let's see what they can do here. Eurofish is on a tentative point, let's just say. Down very low HP-wise, 188. Griffin and Ron chomping at the bit to get him dealt with, but got to be careful. And it's this stalemate, so much on the line here between these two. No one wants to make the error, but blow by blow, it does seem to be just unfolding in towards the hands of Team Supreme as Eurofish still holding the line. Ron's there, Griffin's there. You've got the IS-3s towards the middle, FC Dynamo. Ron trying to tease out these shots, trying to make someone look a little more vulnerable. Griffin doesn't make it land, and Supreme are just holding strong at the moment, and literally shell by shell, they're just wearing down Kazna.
Yeah, they are. And Yizny getting really chunked down at the moment, but you'll see Ruster's actually come off reload. Griffin does take down Eurofish and is going back to back.
It really is blow for blow, but eventually Supreme does have so much of an advantage. You'll imagine they'll just start taking these kills, but there's already two coming in. Dynamo looking for Elian, spots him out there. Apwow and FC Dynamo just circling around their prey at the moment, but there's Vetso and Hyber waiting in the background, and Apwow needs to be a little cautious if he doesn't expect them. He could take a little bit of damage there. He doesn't, luckily, but Griffin does. So Kazna not out of it yet. They're down low on HP, though. 3188 overall. Schnitzel in trouble. He's going to be found by Phoenix there. And Griffin backed into the corner. It doesn't matter because the rest of the team's doing the damage. The 5100s are heading down towards that half-moon circle as Apwow will find Hyber. Elian's going to have to leave his shelter, his cover, his little nook and cranny there, and it's going to be Apwow just staring him down on the other side. He knows the pathway is now clear. Vetso's too busy with FC Dynamo, and Apwow doesn't actually win out in this one. He's doing some good damage, but in the background is Dynamo finding Vetso, and now Elian going to be picked apart by the Vultures as Shanish closes it down, and Team Supreme get it to 3-1. That's a worrying scoreline if you're a Kazna fan.
Yeah, it's going really well for Team Supreme. Again, you know, Kazna crew can't let one of those defense rounds slip away from them because they just, you know, give a very easy round to Team Supreme. You can see how simple, even with a good start, it is to win on Ruinberg on the defensive side. That's why it's not my favorite map in the whole world. But, you know, Kazna crew started well. They took down Griffin in that IS-3. But then, you know, they also lost quite a lot of damage. You saw, you know, a very tentative roster. Maybe they should have had a T54 and an AMX-3090 just to go in, deal with the IS-3, deal with Ron and that LTTB, and, you know, try and make something work there. But, you know, they just sat back. You saw, you know, Team Supreme in the cover, in the bushes, could make the shells. They could do the damage. And then FKK Schnitzel was the kind of last piece in the jigsaw for Team Supreme to take care of before they could go in and get the win. And
the thing is that Kazna seemed so passive. They didn't even seem like they were making a move here. It just felt like they were stuck in between a rock and a hard place. They didn't know what to do to get around it, and it seems almost like a mental block now for Kazna on this map. It's like they didn't really make a move at this point.
Yeah, they should have definitely made a move. They probably should have gone towards the cap, you know, get the IS-3s up there. Have the MX-3090 of Eurofish, have the FKK Schnitzel against Griffin, take Griffin run down, take Griffin down, keep pressure onto Shanish and the MX-3090 with the IS-3s and then move through. But looking through the damage, Apwow 2.2k, Griffin 2.2k, Shanish 2000. Highest damage dealer for Kazna crew was Vetso with 1.6 in his 5100.
I get worried when I see Kazna like this. It feels like they've lost a little bit of direction. When you see them have like a tactical plan in mind, they're a beautiful team to watch. Yeah. They have some real aggression, some real focus, some brilliant factors, but seemed a little lacking in that game. So hopefully going to map 2, they can kind of adjust on that. And you saying it was Mines, if I'm not mistaken.
It's Mines next up.
But Mines is one of those maps as well, I feel is won by the guys who take the lead, who make the moves. If Kazna's not doing that, this could be a very, very bad play day for them.
Yeah, and you've also got to bear in mind, Team Supreme would have just seen Kazna crew play Mines yesterday. So, you know, unless Kazna crew have like a huge amount of kind of notes in their playbook, I'm not sure exactly what they're going to bring out. I mean, Kazna crew was all about that Lighthouse Island, playing off there, making plays around, trying to do as much damage as possible from behind. Let's see if they have a completely different ethos towards Mines today against Team Supreme.
You're going to have to hope so. And Melly, you know, the people at home must be going wild right now because it's going a little bit differently. But your thoughts on this as well, because you watched the games yesterday too, and you've seen what happens to Kazna. How's this panning in your eyes?
I don't know. Kazna seems so different compared to the other match days from yesterday on, and they continue playing like yesterday, which wasn't too successful, as we all know. And I mean, does the missing of LD Nexus maybe have an effect on the team?
Yeah, I mean, LD Nexus has been the highest damage dealer pretty much for Kazna Crew this season. He's an absolute beast. He did great at the Grand Finals. He did great at the Season 5 Finals, highest damage dealer there as well. So it does have an advantage, but you got players like Ruster coming back in, you got FKK Schnitzel there. It shouldn't be a huge factor to the point where you start losing matches because of it.
For a team of a caliber like Kazna Crew shouldn't be, but nobody knows what goes in the what is going on in the heads or even in the team voice of Kazna Crew. People, get your opinions over to us via Twitter. Use the hashtag WGLEU to get involved. Join the discussion. On Twitter, the Kazna Crew fans are forming up and still chanting Kazna Crew's name. Let's see if Supreme will make it on the second map, which is Mines. The vote is still open, so head over to facebook.com/WGLEU and get involved. Vote for your favorite team, and I'm predicting the exact scoreline in the match in the text field below to get your votes in and maybe your chance of winning a bonus code. 3 bonus codes are up on the line. 8 days of premium and 500 gold that way around. So people, get involved. Facebook.com/WGLEU, and we will be back after a short break.
And welcome back to the WGLEU. In case you missed it, Kazna having a bit of a relapse here against Supreme this time. More of a notable team than Strong Siema. No offense, Strong, but this is maybe more of an expected result. But it basically went the same way. A 3-1 on Ruinberg to start off with. But now Mines was the turning point. It became a little closer in the previous game with Kazna, and that's the next map here. What can we make of this? This is the map that Supreme picked. It's a good pick for both teams, to be fair. Do you think Kazna can now bring it back a little closer?
Well, Kazna Crew and Team Supreme basically have the exact same statistics on this map. I think Kazna Crew has like 72% win ratio. Team Supreme's about 68%. So it's so close between these two. And that goes for the defense and the attack. So I don't know. I think this one's going to be about how the individual teams and how the individual players go into this one today. If Eurofish is just going to hit his shells, he's playing the M44. It looks like. How is Vetsa going to play? How's Yizny going to play? How's Phoenix going to respond? You got all these players that need to really come into the equation. I think Mines is a very individual kind of map. Does Kazna Crew resort to like all-in strategies like they have done in the past, like a kind of Penta-esque, like a Wusa on Mines, or do they just keep themselves collected? Because a 3-1 scoreline after Ruinberg or after any map is happened plenty of times when teams have come back from it.
There's no disputing that. They can turn this around. It's a matter of if they can do it in the right way here. Ruinberg wasn't fantastic, but Mines, they can recover, and hopefully they do for their sakes. But guys at home, of course, it's not just about us. Melly, if they want to get their predictions in, can they still do so?
Absolutely. Until the map starts, the vote is open. Head over to facebook.com/WGLEU and vote. I'm speaking that fast because you have very little time left. And use the hashtag WGLEU over at Twitter. What?
Hello.
So many directions from our producers. I'm like, look left, look right, look straight. I'm like, okay, I'm doing everything.
He said look right and you look left. Brilliant.
Really?
Yeah.
But I was checking the camera over there and that camera is on. And I was, I mean, I'm talking to the audience at home, so I should actually address them, right? But I can talk to them and look at you. So people at home, if you want to get involved, head over to Twitter and use the hashtag WGLEU to get involved. So people, do so and tell us your opinions, because Twitch chat is really, really sad. And keep in mind, the next map, Mines, was Supreme's pick.
Yeah, Bible thump.
And they will start defending.
Brilliant.
Yep. Oh, they're starting on defense.
Yep.
All right, Kazna, let's see what you got. This is your first big test this season. You've played some other teams, but this is your big test. This is your chance to not mess this one up. Ollie, a prediction, what's our scoreline?
I really hope we get to see Kazna come back on this one. I think it's going to go 4-all.
All right, guys, 4-all's his call. I think Supreme's got this in the bag. Let's find out as, well, Mines is coming up next.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations. But the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village and the other one is in the water. The key directions here are the hill and the island. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets.
Alrighty, welcome into map number 2. As promised, as said, it's going to be Mines, and we just need to see what sort of Kazna we get, and we've got artillery against each other.
That's never happened this season so far.
No.
We've only seen, a defensive team pick artillery or an attacking team pick artillery. We've never seen both picking it, so that's really strange. Yesterday, I really did appreciate Eurofish's damage. He did some great work against Lucas Yasti, for instance, hitting quite a few shells, and actually I think he did 2k damage one round. I'm not sure if that was him or someone else in another team, but I think it was him, and it does look like Team Supreme is going towards that hill.
Yeah, it looks like Kazna's going towards the lighthouse. This is what you said they've done before. They like to play off that lighthouse island. And it worries me. If they become predictable, Supreme will know their plan. They will know their game, but hopefully they've changed it a touch. They've got the T-32 sticking it out. That's Yizny. He's going to try and stay strong. In the back lines of that, the T-54, and then even behind it, the M44, just with the overarching eyesight there, keeping tabs on across the map. But those T-54s, they were not staying towards the center, are starting to head down towards the south. Whereas the IS-3s are looking to like they want to deal with Yizny right about now. Applewell's had enough of this one, but he gets a little bit of damage from Vetso and has to back out.
Yeah, he has to be really careful of the artillery as well. If he just heads around that corner, tries to stay there for too long, you won't just have Yizny and Vetso to deal with. You'll also have Eurofish, pounding down him. But Elian being super aggressive against Griffin.
Alien really going for this one. I'm not sure if he should be going out on a limb like this.
307 damage.
Ouch. Alien, 1 for 1. I don't know why Alien's out on his own. I'm kind of intrigued why he went that far to just by himself, as Eurofish takes a load of damage then. He's now down to a one-shot. I think that was Phoenix who signed, sealed, and delivered that one, but now you can see the fall towards the south. Nuclear's going to find Alien. And things are starting to go very, very badly wrong for Kazna here. They're starting to dwindle in HP. They've started the cap off, but they don't really have much control. I'm a little worried about this.
It was super aggressive by Alien, and it only took Shanish just Nuclear to come from the side and actually do some damage there. And Shanish has also been there to provide some support towards Griffin. So yeah, really strange stuff. I think, you know, perhaps he should just stuck into that bush, kept Griffin locked down, kept Shanish locked down and not being aggressive. But now Kazna crew are really on the back foot.
Yeah, they certainly are, and we know that Alien back in the day used to have some issues with the attitude to games if he felt it wasn't going well. Maybe that's a surfacing point, who knows. Anyway, back to the game. Cap still underway. Team Supreme really holding their numbers here, not losing out on HP at all. And Schnitzel waiting for Griffin. And Vetso, ice trained across as well. What's the best option here for Team Supreme to stop that Cap?
Well, the thing is, you know, the support from Kazna crew is there, but it's not that much, especially with the lineup from Team Supreme. So actually, you know, they could just come busting off that hill and push in towards the cap, take care of Vetso, you know, but there's not that much pressure from Kazna crew with just one kappa. So, you know, Team Supreme just needs to continue winning these 1 versus 1 situations, these engagements, these pop shots, and they should just about be okay. They should be winning this one, no problem. Once they've got a significant advantage they do now have, you know, they can just push up, kill Vetso, kill Yizny in a T32 and finish this game out.
And Hyper's just... What the hell is going on here? Hyper just rolling into his death. He saw, hey, Alien, that was a great idea. Let me do it as well. 4 now left for Kazna crew, and these guys seem like they're out of the game already.
Yeah, this was game over a while ago. I mean, you know, Kazna crew really did let this one slip once Alien died. You know, it just wasn't a position they can really win from. You know, once Team Supreme has that southern side, they can just make shots against the whole of Kazna crew on that island. Also, Kazna were losing a lot of the engagements against those IS-3s.
Questionable performance here by Kazna, not what we expected from someone who's, you know, currently well within the top 5. Rather surprising.
And basically been top 2 the whole season.
Yeah, and they only just slipped down to, I think, 4th currently. So I'm a little bit shocked that these guys have let this one slip so badly, and they're all basically one-shots or near enough to. Yizny just kind of excluding himself from that one, and Schnitzel a little better off than the others. Vetso down to 168, Ruster 104, and they're getting some damage done now, but it's so little in the day now. Shanish finds Vetso. Schnitzel's the next on the chopping board. You can see the 416 starting to move in, the IS-3 as well, and that T32 towards the north can do nothing but sit and watch. Griffin's going to come around. Schnitzel's now a one-shot, and Shanish providing some lovely fire as Griffin will seal the deal, and Yizny and Ruster last 2 alive, and really a shameful performance from Kazna, not what I'd expect from someone who's astounded us on many occasions, just buckling under the pressure of Team Supreme.
Yeah, not even a single tank going down for Team Supreme. 7 tanks still alive out of 7. So incredible stuff from them. I mean, you know, just really a bad round from Kazna crew. It looks like they took that loss against Strong CMA yesterday to heart. And if they lose 2 in a row, they really do put in jeopardy that ability to go to the offline finals automatically. Of course, the first 2 go automatically. 3rd to 6th have to play in the online playoffs for the last 2 spots. Of course, 4 teams until it'll go into the offline finals. So, you know, really, if I was Kazna crew, you know, I would just be wanting to get 1st or 2nd. Like, that's what I'd be going for, because you save yourself so much heartache if, you know, like you have one really bad round in a bracket and you drop out.
And let's bear in mind, Supreme are almost clear at the top. They're on 23 points currently, and no one's that close. The closest right now is 18, and that's Tornado Rocks. Then you got First Pro on 17, Kazna on 16. You're not even fighting for top 2. You're fighting for 1 spot, basically. It's that 2nd place, because I think Supreme are just going to keep building like this. I don't see them really stopping, if I'm completely honest. And Kazna really need to pick up their game here. I'm very surprised at how they're performing, and I'm one of their biggest fans when they play well. I love watching Kazna when they play well. You can't help but put your heart behind them by the end of the day, but right now, that is not the Kazna we're seeing.
I think they need to get at least a tiebreak here. I think they need to get the 1 point, bring them on the same points as Virtus Pro, so you have that whole, 1 versus 1. Virtus Pro still's got to fight Team Supreme. You have all these kind of things that come into the question in the equation. So I think Kazna Crew needs to get at least 1 point off Team Supreme here if they want to keep themselves in a good position for for a second place position here. But Tornado Rocks have been playing very well. It's also debatable if they will actually lose a match this rest of the season. Well,
they've got, you'd argue, quite a comfortable victory later as well, up against Utopia. That's going to be taking place as a last game. So they're second against sixth. That should be a clear-cut game. So that's another clean-cut 3 points going towards them. This is worrying times for Kazna. And even if they look strong during the season, the amount of times we've seen people slip out of that top 3, then to the top 6, and then suddenly they might not be at the offline finals. That'd be terrifying if Kazna let the ball slip that much. A lot would have to happen for that, but I wouldn't put it beyond what teams have achieved before in the WGL EU. It's happened. So I'll have to wait and see if that does come to a factor. But final round, arguably coming in.
Yeah, match point now for Team Supreme.
What can Kazna do? Because that seemed like an attitude problem. That seemed like just Kazna not being Kazna. Is that all it takes? They need to pull themselves back together, or what do you make of it?
I think so. I mean, they're on the attacking side of mines. It's, in my opinion, easy to play. I mean, it's very close on this statistics, like 50-55% in favor of the defensive side. But I've seen Kazna Crew perform extraordinarily well on the attacking side altogether. But looking at the lineup, same for both teams. Griffin was the highest damage dealer with 2.2k in that 4-1-6 last round. Let's see if he can have a similar performance this time around. You can see Team Supreme taking a leaf out of Kazna Crew's book, setting up for a push from that Lighthouse Island.
All right, let's just keep our eyes on Kazna. This is their round. Supreme are on match point. Kazna needs to save themselves some face here because this is quite embarrassing for a team like this. They should not be losing this. So let's see if they can pull it back together here. Supreme into position. They took one shell initially. I believe that was dealt by Elian. That went towards Phoenix on the cross. But now let's look at it. Kazna has the higher ground, and they should be able to keep and maintain this. Yeah,
they do. I mean, that's one of the benefits of starting as the attacker. You have the higher ground. This is actually a good position for Kazna Crew. Maybe they should have done that last time. Because if they keep these IS-3s there spotted, they can do a lot of damage, and also the artillery comes into play.
And Applewell is being shredded down, but as was Vetso, so kind of even exchange to a degree, but Vetso a little lower, 4-1-1, but Applewell taking an additional shot, puts him down to a one-shot, 71 HP. Ruster will not look that chance down, or turn that chance down, should I say. As now we're seeing Kazna keeping control, finally doing what they need to, keeping Supreme in that crossfire, and it looks like Supreme is really struggling to break out of this.
And Ruster's so ballsy right now. He's playing such a good game, hitting his shells, doing so much damage while FKK Schnitzel and Vetso support Yizny.
Yeah, look, Shanish is in a real predicament now. He's going to be pinned down by 3 tanks basically once they roll off this hill. He's already got 2 shells going towards him. Yizny picks up Phoenix on the cross. This is a much better play coming out from Kazna, finally showing their class. This is what we know and we love from them. Vetso saves Yizny in the end by taking down Shanish. Sure, Supreme win back that hill, but at so much cost.
Yeah, Vetso gets very lucky there from a low roll from FC Dynamo. Stays alive. You'll see Kazna Crew now flex back onto the hill. It's still a game for Team Supreme if they can actually play an extraordinarily well amount of tanks. Let's see if they can do this, but you can see Kazna Crew once again contesting for that hill, wanting to put a bit of pressure on those IS-3s as FC Dynamo does challenge.
And Kazna shouldn't let this slip. Ron is in the background trying to turn the tides, but well, Elian is hungry and willing and already on the move towards him. That should be a clean pickup for Elian any second now. And you'll see it come across. Elian might just go for the ram if he can here. He knows Ron's waiting in the background. Oh, Elian. Dangerous stuff. He's clearly scared of Ron there. He's not going to take it lightly, but he does take him down. And now Supreme are down to 3 players, and that's Kazna now moving into position. They want to get this one done and dusted. They don't want to think about this one anymore. They want this game over with, or at least this round. They've been on the verge for losing for quite some time. Nuclear finding Yizny. Griffin down low. This should be comfortable. This should be clean. They're doing some damage, which is good. They're now getting them down to almost that one-shot range, excluding Nuclear. FC Dynamo dealt with by Ruster as Griffin and Nuclear, the last two alive.
Yeah, but everyone's a one-shot right now for Kazna Crew, and, you know, yes, okay, Team Supreme are one-shots as well, but they're two very, very damage-dealing tanks, but Vetso doesn't mind. He goes around the corner, does dispatch of Nuclear, but Nuclear also responds, and Hyber gets one back as the last man for Team Supreme does go down. And finally, Kazna Crew, after that one round they had on the defensive side, and Ruinberg do put another on the board here on the attacking side of Mainz.
And that's what we expect from Kazna Crew. They're a fantastic team. I'm being a little harsh towards them, but it's for good reason. They are champions at what they do. But until that round, we hadn't seen it. But finally, they showed some light. Now, break down to me the difference there, because that looked like night and day between the first round and the second.
To me, it felt like in that first round, they went to what they knew.
Yep.
They went to what they did yesterday against Strong Steamer. They played towards that Lighthouse Island. And there's just some individual mistakes, maybe some positional mistakes. This time, Kazna thought, let's see what, let's just take the middle, because we've got the T-54s, we can be fast, we're starting from the north. We can get there on the hill first. Let's keep those IS-3s locked down. Let's just go hold down behind the mine. We can stay safe and run in that position. Get shots on the top of that IS-3. Let Eurofish work in that M44, which he did. He did a very respectable 651 damage. That's one shell onto Apwell, taking down to a one-shot range. And then you could just see those T-54s just starting to work away at Team Supreme with a very respectable 2.2k from Yizny in his T-32, 1.5k from Ruster. And, you know, yeah, Nuclear really played well for his team, hitting over 3,000 damage in his IS-3, but it just wasn't enough considering Phoenix and Ron did 0 damage.
That's something you don't see every day. Phoenix and Ron doing 0 damage. Phoenix was the player who took the first shot of the very round then, and didn't quite recover, it seems. But still, let's take this into account. That means Kazna live to fight another day, but they will be switching sides now. Now, lots of nows. Let's talk about the sides which this map doesn't seem to have as much bias towards one side as others. This seems still fairly even. Is this what we expected, that it will actually even out?
Yeah, I think it's fairly even. I mean, I think the side switch is going to be interesting because Kazna Crew, well, one of the ways they like to play is just, you know, keep the other team guessing and play really solid tanks in terms of the tactical tanks. So I'm wondering if what they're going to be doing. Are they going to go for a T-54 stack, which it looks like they're doing, apart from an IS-3? They got the double LTTBs, which they love to play towards that Lighthouse Island. And, you know, in the past, I've been very impressed with Kazna Crew on mines on the defensive side, just because there's probing ability of the LTTBs. Oh,
here we go. This is the testing point once again. They're not off the hook here, Kazna. They've just lived to fight another day. 4-2. Supreme still need one more round here to close it down. They've got 2 more attempts. As you noted, Kazna on the defensive side, Supreme on the attack. And it looks like Shanish is the VIP they need to escort here. Shanish being herded up towards that hill with the bodyguards of the IS-3s.
I bet Kazna Crew are kicking themselves that they didn't pick an artillery, because it's absolute dream world for artilleries. You know, just being able to do so much damage against those heavy tanks.
Phoenix.
But it looks like Team Supreme are just going to try and bully themselves onto this hill.
Yeah, there's no class to this, there's no beauty to this. It's sheerly going forward and hoping they can withstand it. FC Dynamo lines up. No damage dealt just yet. This is good progress so far. No one's taking shots here. This is kind of worrying. Don't get me wrong, Phoenix got a little low, as did Challenge, but now they're up on the hill. They're there and they can challenge. FC Dynamo's going to stare down and charge Elian off the hill, throwing him into the pit of the lower section of mines, as he might just have a peer over, gets a shot for all his trouble, and can back away. And look at this, Supreme just bullied their way up there completely and utterly. Phoenix may be caught out, however. Yeah,
and Elian might just go down here if he doesn't be careful. FC Dynamo is playing it very well. He doesn't end up going down, but yeah, Phoenix is down and out of this game. That's the first frag going to Kazna Crew, but what damage did they receive for it?
Ron being caught out by High, but then he tried to get out of that one. Beautifully done. And now, well, Supreme are dwindling in numbers, but the HP is also extraordinarily low for Kazna. So, 2 teams with 2 very different benefits currently. Yizny going to receive the first blow from Applewell, but Griffin and Shanish going to finish off the job, do what they started, and get the job done. Supreme keeping their numbers again, just rolling out together, not letting them be picked apart just yet, but Shanish gets singled out by Ruster. Schnitzel on the run, tries to get one in, but big damage comes in towards that LTTB, and he needs to be careful here.
Yeah, Ruster has to run away as well, but he doesn't quite manage it because FC Dynamo is still on the hill. But Kazna Crew really being bullied. You know, this is just why heavy tanks work, because at the end of the day, it's a numbers game, and if you just don't have the numbers, you're not going to win. Just despite, you know, your individual performances and the way you do play your tanks and the tactics you do use, Kazna crew just don't have the damage or the HP to take care of these IS-3s.
Yeah, Elian's done for. He tried to find a little bit of respite behind the house to run away towards that eastern side, but he's down to a one-shot. Applewell not going to be able to get the ram off there. Going to have to commit a shell to this one. And it's Nuclear to provide for him. But look at this on the top. FC Dynamo just off the side there. Hyber, Eurolfish, trying to hunt him down, trying to make the most of this. They still have equal numbers, but the HP, a sparse difference here as Supreme on the verge of picking this one up. FC Dynamo dancing behind the rock, trying to buy time, saying, guys, if I stay alive and you get up here, you've got 3 easy kills coming in. He's got a shot still, lined it up. He didn't get to utilize it. Hyber's been hitting some class shots here, but just none really working out. But remember, Supreme are on the attack, and they still need to make their final move.
It's just unbelievable from Kazna crew. They're playing such good tanks right now, but still, the Team Supreme are so far ahead of HP. It's just unbelievable right now, and the damage they've got is incredible. Applewell does find Vetso as well, so another tank does fall for Kazna.
It's 3v3 still. This is insane. Kazna are holding this one together just, I don't know how. It is by the seam of their pants, but Eurolfish will be caught out in the end. But Hyber and Schnitzel are on the run, and they're just getting the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, it's on the defensive side. I mean, they've still got 3 minutes left on the clock. I think this does say something for Kazna crew's lineups. I mean, let's be honest, this is the lineup they use time and time again on Mines, for instance, against Synergy. It worked against them, and I think, you know, Team Supreme just hard countered it with the IS-3s. And T-32 is just nothing Kazna crew could do. I think they played very well. I think the individual performances also were on point. But what can you do against just a stack of IS-3s when you've only got one? Especially when Yizny just played pretty bad, didn't do any damage really, didn't really hit the shell he should have hit. And he's the only heavy tank which Kazna had. I think if Kazna had like another heavy tank like an IS-3 or another T-32, they would be able to, you know, hold those positions a little longer and give the T-54s time to work down the HP of those bigger tanks.
Fundamental flaws maybe then with Kazna, just not quite having the job in the bag. And you've got to point out that Hyber had a great game as well. Accuracy-wise, as you mentioned, individually, you can't fool Kazna. They turned up in map 2, but this one looks as though it may have gone a touch too far for them to recover from. As Schnitzel and Hyber look to maybe, just maybe, find a way out here, but that margin of error is getting thinner and thinner here. Hyber lining up the shot. Not gonna get it. 40 seconds now. Nuclear hunting him down. Oh, Nuclear's just around the corner. This should be job done. This should be the deal sealed. The cap does get reset, but at what cost? Hyber here should go down as he does. Nuclear's done the damage, and now it's just Schnitzel. 1v2. He might be able to hold the cap up a bit, but he is a one-shot here.
Yeah, it's game over, let's be honest here. 1 minute, oh, well.
Yeah, close time.
Yeah,
it's a miracle,
very
but
close. Griffin will need to join that cap, and FKK Schnitzel will need to reset once. But he does know where Team Supreme are capping, and there's only 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock, so still possibilities for Kazna crew to put another round here.
Here we go. Time has been sped up quite drastically. Schnitzel, it's your move. Can you save your team right now? 4-2, 15 seconds. Look at those turrets. Carefully trained, all lined up. Schnitzel will have to hit a belter of a shot. He does get one in, but the clock's still running. More needs to come through. 9 seconds. Turret's turn, they know where he is now. 5 seconds left. Schnitzel. 3 seconds. He's got to make the shot right about now, and it doesn't happen. It's going to be Team Supreme picking up the victory, 5-2, and Kazna fall by the wayside. Sadly, again, at what seemed like a really poor start on Ruinberg. They started to build up on map 2. But your thoughts overall on this matchup? It didn't seem as explosive as I expected it.
No.
It felt maybe Kazna just weren't there today.
Yeah, it feels to me, you know, Kazna crew are that team that they don't try that hard in the online phase, let's be honest here. It's really the offline finals where they do perform. But Team Supreme, very solid for them. FKK Schnitzel in that last round, he couldn't have done anything anyway. Even if he got another reset, they still had 30 seconds. So he would have had to hit both the other tanks to actually win that game. But this is a definitive moment. Yizny did really no damage that round. He did 371. He should have had another shell there. But it was just a hard counter against those 4 T54s, those 2 LTTPs, and that 1 IS3 where, you know, Team Supreme picked 4 IS3s, T32 on their side.
But let's bear in mind, we're not saying Kazna played badly in this map. I'd say in mines they were more than on par. I'd have loved to been able to see a longer series in this map personally and seen how they've gone forward, because individually they played very well.
Yeah, I think, you know, Kazna crew, 2 things to take away from this one. I don't think Ruinberg's your map. I think Steps would have been a better map to try and go for in that pick and ban phase. I think Mines was fair enough, but, you know, 3-1 scoreline after the first map, especially Ruinberg against Team Supreme, you need to be on even Steven scorelines to actually be able to have a real chance there. But, you know, it was a good round. I like to see these matches because, you know, it wasn't the closest scoreline in the world, but you get to see the way the top teams play. We saw a lot of good individual performances, and I have no doubt that we'll be able to see this matchup again very soon.
Yeah, whether it be the offlines or who knows where, maybe even the qualifiers to get there, we'll have to wait and find out. But of course, coming up next is Penta against No Mercy, but we'll get back to that one in a second. I think we need to head over to Melee to wrap this one up. But how did the people out there do? Did they get it right in the end? Because they were backing Kazna at the start.
Absolutely, and it evened out a lot more during the course of the first map, and ended with 51% in favor of Kazna, but still 1% is almost nothing. It's 1 out of 100. But a lot of people actually voted 5-2 for Supreme. So yes, I mean, you got it right, guys. Congratulations. And the next vote is up. So head over to facebook.com/WGLEU to get in your votes for Penta versus No Mercy, which is our next match, our second match of the day, second match of the 3rd day of our Super Match Week. And yes, get your votes going. Head over to on Twitter and use the hashtag WGLEU to get involved, and also search for the hashtag to see what fellow tankies are talking about, maybe to join the discussion and maybe find some friends to platoon with. Also, you're very well invited to Twitch chat, to join Twitch chat, and of course join the discussion in there as well. Our Twitch chat is actually pretty nice and a nice place to be. So I'm not lying, I'm being serious here. So our Twitch chat is pretty cool, you should join it. And of course follow our Twitch channel to get a notification as soon as we're going live, to not miss a single second of our awesome show. And as said, enough time to vote, enough time to tweet. 10 minutes break it is, and we'll be back with No Mercy versus Penta.
Being a great gamer is not just being a skilled player. It's ability to share your free time between game, family, friends and girlfriend.
A top player has confidence in himself and in making the right decisions.
What makes a great player? Responsibility, discipline and clear vision.
Ability to concentrate, ability to make efforts constantly, ability to overcome your weaknesses. That's what makes you a great player. A great player always analyzes his game. He always progresses. For a great player, his game is more than just a game.
A lot of patience and hard working. That's what makes you a great player.
Top player needs to have maximum concentration, minimum mistakes, so he can gain advantage to his team.
Хороший киберспортсмен должен быть трудолюбивым, ответственным, целеустремленным, ну и немного таланта не помешает.
A great player needs burning motivation to improve his skill all the time.
Being a professional player in a team of esports requires the team to act as one.
Being a good player, it's not only about skill. You need to read opponent minds and prepare to it.